Welcome back to Flat Tires and Dead Bar. Why do I always do that? Welcome back to Flat Tires and Dead Batteries Garage. This is part 3. I know, I can't believe it either. We're outside for a moment. It's a nice 50-degree day here in the north, you know. It's heat wave. Woo! But in this one, we're gonna strip down these rear ends. This is the rear end I'm going to use. That's the rear end that came out of the 70. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it. We're going to strip these down, get this one cleaned up, get the leaf springs swapped over. We're going to paint everything, and we're going to attempt to get it into the back of the car. And I have some good news. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So, I'm not sure the awesome guy that I bought both of these cars from, he told me that rear end was some special rare rear end, but what makes them rare is that nobody wants them, so I'm not even going to try and use it. And this rear end came with the 71. The good news that I have proclaimed, look at these beauties, dropped off today by our good friend, who ironically is the same guy I bought the car and all the other parts from. He's a really good dude. He brought these up to me today for a really fair price. So we have quarters. And thankfully, in the midst of my frustration, I have not gotten the tail panel welded in yet, so we can just skip that process for now and get into cutting these quarters off, getting rid of all of this crap, you know. See, it's bad. And sure if you can see it or not, but that's the inner panels. They're bad. I really wasn't excited about using them. All this Bondo, it's 1/4 inch thick and 1/2 inch thick in some places, but pretty much everything in this car in the back half is now going to be brand new. So, but for now, we're going to focus on the rear end because I want to see this thing sitting on the ground again. Now, we're going to pull these leaf springs off of this rear end, and I'm going to try and save on this brake line. I know I can reuse, hopefully, this rubber brake line that's on here, you know, right here, this guy. I'm going to try and reuse that, and I'm going to try and reuse these brake lines as long as I don't twist them off. We're going to reuse the leaf springs that are on this rear end, and maybe the mounting stuff. I don't know. Definitely reusing the what are those? Clamshell torque? The mounts for the whatever. I have new shocks that were supposed to be here today. They're not. I just bought some cheapy air shocks off of partsgeek.com. So we're going to strip all that off of that rear end, but we got to get all of this off of this rear end first. And I think that's where we're going to start today. There's our chipmunk chaser. Hey, Layla. Any of you guys got shop cats? Good for keeping the mice out of the cars. gonna get the camera set up and we're gonna start getting stuff blasted off of things. Run away. Scared. I don't know why I sprayed that. I don't need to spray that one. I need to spray. There you go. Let me hold that. I need to spray all this stuff. That line's broke. Not worried about it. I wish these had tags on them. There's numbers right there. I could probably Google those numbers, figure out what this rear end actually is. Maybe I'd do it on that line too, just to be positive these aren't the same rear ends. I don't know. I'm not smart. I'm just due. And I didn't buy any new, I didn't buy no axle seals. I didn't buy the pinion seals or nothing. I'm not going to open up the rear end. Not yet, at least. This is just to get it in the car, get the car on all four wheels again. So that way, eventually I can push the car back and then we can get the subframe, or not the subframe, the subframe. Get the subframe out. We can clean that up. I got a new core support to put in it. So, and then while that's out, we can fix the toe boards and whatever needs fixed on the firewall. That sun is bright. And it's reflecting right off the window of the 89. I can't see nothing. What do I need? I think it's a 3/4. I think. Just get these leaf springs off. Get them all juiced up. I don't have brakes. I don't have brake hardware for it. I don't know if there's anything in that rear end. Maybe. It keeps getting stuck. But we'll eventually get it all new stuff, new seals, new rear end gasket, whatever. Like I said, this is just get it in the car ordeal. I'm gonna go grab a wrench or a ratchet. Not a 3/4. Stupid. It's smaller. Oh, you can definitely smell the rear end lube. Rear gear. I don't know if it was on Facebook or Instagram. I saw it somewhere. They're adding vanilla extract, whatever, scented vanilla to rear end lube because techs complain about it too much. About it stinking. I got some girly techs nowadays. I got used to it from working on the race cars. Dirt track. The quick changes. Ow. There goes my glasses. Need a deep socket for that one. Okay. Squeak. I'm gonna hold the back of this so it doesn't fall in my hand. Just keep an upward pressure on it. Probably still gonna fall. Counterweights the rear end, the heavy sides over there, and it uppercuts me. It's actually about 3:30, 4 o'clock where we're at. Getting a pretty late start on this. I spent most of my morning running around. I got my Duramax running again. Then I waited for him to drop them quarters off. Should come off. Give it a wiggle. Yeah, do that. Yeah. Yeah, look at these leaf springs are all broken, and that's why we're not using them. Broken. I thought it looked low when we had it sitting in the driveway. And look, there's the rubber pad your brother wants. If I can get this out. Ow. We'll save all the hardware. We'll use the best of the best from each one. Huh? That's not a bolt. No, it's the guide pin for the leaf spring. This would go through the center, or yeah, the center, like right here. For all, what is this, 3 leaf springs, 4 leaf springs? It essentially just kind of keeps them centered, but when the whole center is missing,
looks like a bolt with the sun in the eyes. So you were saying something about it.
now this side. Hopefully this side comes off just as easy. Get over here and look at this. So it's broke there, and then it broke here, which then caused the leaf spring to basically flatten out, which is why it looked like it was sitting so low.
Looked good that low, though.
It did look good that low, but it's a 70s muscle car. You gotta have it jacked up in the ass end with a big hood scoop on it, and 10-inch tires hanging out of the fenders. I already got one of those. We don't need another one. Look out, Layla. Oh, boy. That's one. Half of one? There's an old Ford. Well, that's why that hurt. I nicked my burn. I saw a mouse the other day, Layla. You're not doing your job very well.
She's not here full time yet.
You think just because you can get a couple days off? Slacker. Who's with the big diesel truck? Oh, there's a Ram. Black Ram. Who are you? Go away. I don't know you. That's my purse. Yeah. See? Aww. The emergency brake cable stopped it. That'd be funny if it just rolled away. It's ribbed for her pleasure. Oh. There's one slightly used leaf spring. We'll just plop it right here, I guess. I ain't even gonna worry about the bushings on the insides. Oh boy, this one's heavy. Smart Me should mark them, but they're gonna get painted anyway, so.
What do you want to mark them with?
They're getting painted, so there'd be no way to mark them. Because there is going to be a driver's side and a passenger side. We'll just know that this one's the driver's side. I was going to try and save those, but...
Which one are you using? This rear end?
No,
Okay.
I'm using that rear end.
This rear end.
That's beefier. That one's beefier, which will be better for the 455.
Yeah.
I need a nut in the welder. Hey! I'm going to weld a nut to it, and hopefully the heat will break it free and allow me to get a socket on it to get it out, so I can get that brake union line, whatever they're called, that brake tee. I don't know what they're called. I should make sure I have a socket. Should be this one. Yeah.
You need one?
I need a diff cover. There's a hole in it.
That one work?
I don't know. Maybe. Try it. You do have to open up the rear end. Right now. I need a better ground spot. That's what I need. Wasn't Garrett. Thought he was going to rev bomb. So, would you believe it? But since that last clip you saw, it's only been maybe an hour and a half. And the sun has disappeared along with the warm temperatures. I got that bolt out that I was trying to weld a nut to. It fought me for a little bit, but we did get it. The diff cover had a hole in it somewhere right in here, as you can tell by the fluid that got dumped on the ground. So we spent a bit of time debating back and forth whether we just use that rear end just to save us some time and whatever, but we found the numbers on both rear ends, and I finally remember what's different with this one. This is a 7.5 inch rear end, still a GM10 bolt, but it's an oddball differential gear size, so they're not really desirable. But if anyone is interested, I may be posting this one for sale. Obviously it works for F bodies. I'll have the mounts for it, the plates, I'll include those because I don't need them. But thankfully we were able to swap the diff cover. So this is the one that came off of the 8.5 inch. Let's see if I can figure out how to turn a light on this. I can't. Nope. I can't turn a light on, but you can see the hole that was in that diff cover. So, but they were the same size covers, so I was able to get them swapped out. I was able to save the gasket off of that one too, but I siliconed both sides of the gasket and we smushed it on here. So, but we're gonna let that set up and cure. And since it's getting cold out and dark again, we're gonna move back into the garage, kick the heater on, and we're gonna do some well, it's gone. Undercoating. We're gonna do some prevention crap. I don't know. We're gonna lay on the floor, use a drill, and scrub some rough spots and spray undercoating on it. That's what we're gonna do. So we'll be back in, I don't know, 10 minutes when we get everything cleaned up outside. Hey there, I'm back. As you can see, it's darker outside. 10 minutes turned into 2 hours and 37 minutes and 15 seconds. I don't know. We went and got dinner after we cleaned up. But I'm back in the garage and we're getting back on this. So what I'm gonna do, you ain't doing nothing, sitting there. Get a job. Brain function. Yep. I'm gonna crawl on the floor with the worst hair comb of your life. That's on a drill, wherever them things are, the little wire wheel things. I'm gonna crawl on the floor. We're gonna scuff up the bottom side here in the trunk pan area, and somewhere in here I bought some undercoating. We're gonna shoot all the areas that we didn't weld and whatnot. Pretty much just kind of a preventative maintenance thing, so I don't have to worry about it later. And then, yeah, rear end's outside doing rear end things. Yep. I don't know. There's your update. Get to it. And here we're gonna start with the easy area. Just kind of scraping over, trying to knock some of this surface rust off of these areas. I don't want them getting any worse after going through all this work on these frame rails. On the original floor pan to this car, none of this was here. So, and a lot of this was chewed up. But we're just going to take our world's worst hairbrush on a drill and just kind of, not that, but just, you know, scuff it up. You probably hadn't seen none of that. Here, try it again. Just, we're gonna scuff it up, and then I don't know, I bought this from Harbor Freight. I don't know if any of this stuff actually works, if it does what it says it does, but I've used it. It works. I say it works. I don't know if it works. It works for what I think it does. And then once that dries, we'll just spray all of this with that Rust-Oleum undercoating right here. Resists rust. Yeah, sure it does. This is part number 248657, rubberized undercoating. I used this on my brother-in-law's floor pans and it came out nice. I also used them in my 89, but we're just gonna zoom along this. So forgot to mention, also gonna take a little bit of brake clean. We're just gonna spritz it liberally through here, get all the dirt, dust off. You know, we gotta make it look good for SEMA, because that's the quality we're definitely not going for. Just take a rag, just give it a wipe. See, I don't know what that is, but we just smeared it. Whatever that is, I should have just painted over it. This is me trying to be nice, do things the quote-unquote correct way. What is that? Some kind of grease that for some reason the drill didn't hit. Oh boy. You definitely tell I'm using brake cleaner. Does anyone else see pretty princesses and bubblegum? I don't know what that is. We're just going to paint over it. It's good enough for me. Where's my paint? I'm sure that was crispy sounding on the mic. That rust reformer. It's been sitting in the garage for probably 6 months now with it frozen, so I'd be surprised if it sprays. Oh, look at that. Now, this stuff you spray over, see on the can, before, after. You spray it over the areas and it'll turn black, which tells you supposedly that it's activated and ready to paint. But he said, I don't know if this stuff, we almost said a boo-boo word. Boo-boo word. I don't know if this stuff actually works. I mean, it turns black, but just give her enough to let it work. I'm sure all of this footage looks like doo-doo. But something fell behind me. Now make sure when you're spraying all of this, you're wearing a mask. In a ventilation, well ventilated area. Not in an enclosed garage, 2 feet away from your face. But I'm gonna get this all sprayed down. You see it's already kind of doing the thing. Took a big whiff. Yep, ventilation mask working good. I'm gonna get this all sprayed down, and while this dries, I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the other side too. So we'll see you in like 10 minutes. I promise this time. Okay, bye. Well, now that I can smell colors and taste sound from whatever chemical is in all that, I think that stuff's worse. Whew, I think that stuff's worse than brake cleaner. But I pretty much used that entire can on both frame rails and a little bit in the trunk area. Just some spots that had a little bit of rust, and where the torque boxes sit. But I wasn't really. Oh, you really can't see it. That's dark. Oh well. I didn't go light on it, that's for sure. So it's gonna take a minute to dry. But woo. I'm gonna let all that dry, and then I'm gonna undercoat it, and that'll probably be it for the night, because I need to go make some space in my phone for more recordings. Okay, bye. Well, here we are, day 2. Spent most of the night clearing space in my phone and getting videos edited for you guys. But we're back out here. Got a little late of a start. I kind of slept in a bit. It's the weekend. What do you want from me? I'm gonna get you in here in the wheel wells so you can check out the undercoating we sprayed in so far. I have another can of it to do still, but I have very limited daylight and the temperature is getting colder again. It's supposed to snow, so we're gonna just hop onto the rear end, get that cleaned up and painted, ready to rock. Plus my parts showed up today, so nice. So right here you can see the undercoating that we sprayed in here. She's brand new. Yep. Let's get this door up and let's start rock and rolling, because snow. Just as we left everything last night. It never did rain, so worried about that for nothing. Here's my box of shocks. My shocks that showed up finally. 2 days late, but they're here. Alrighty. Well, I got updates. I think the universe is trying to tell me something. With the hole being in the diff, and now I got holes in the axle tube, and that looks like it's leaking right there. I'm not positive. It actually looks like it's cracked. I don't know. I'm gonna attempt to blast a weld in it just to fill the hole. I guess I will be looking for a rear end here in the future, but this one's getting used for now anyways, so I'll grab the brake cleaner and welder and get this cleaned up a little bit more, and we'll just try to, I don't know, weld that or something. Got it welded up. We I grinded away at it a little bit and it revealed a pretty big hole. These are just little pits from the weld. There's no hole there. There was a crack up here. I welded that. You know, just when I thought I could get a day without welding anything, here we are, welding stuff. Yep. I went ahead and finished wire wheeling the rest of it, blew it off, scrubbed it down with some brake clean, and now we're gonna blast it with some Rust-Oleum primer sealer. We got them all primered up. I'm gonna let this top side dry before I rotate it and get the back side of it. I laid it on kind of thick, kind of just a one and done situation, especially knowing the condition that like the axle tubes and stuff are at. It's not worth putting a whole lot of effort into. Not gonna lie, I forgot about the leaf springs, so I primered the torque box mounts, and then when we go to paint everything black, I'll just paint the leaf springs and everything too. But we're gonna let that sit for a couple hours and dry. I'm gonna go find me some lunch and we'll get back to this. Hey, welcome back. You took a really long lunch break, by the way. While you were gone, I went and just finished up getting the rear end painted. There's a couple scuff marks from the jack stands from rotating it, whatever. It might have fell. Who knows? Never got it on camera, so you know. But I went and got everything painted up. Attached our brake line. I haven't ran brake lines. We're gonna wait until we can either get a kit or we'll just make our own. We got the leaf springs are all painted up. I have the leaf spring mounting plates with the shock attachment. Those are back there on the heater getting blasted. Somebody forgot to paint those. Went and cleaned up the hardware that we're going to use, and we're going to get this rear end back together, and hopefully by tomorrow we can have this thing sitting on all fours. So yeah, as I was saying, this rear end actually came out pretty nice for how cruddy it looked. There is some pitting, but I didn't see any extra holes other than the one that we welded up earlier. Like I said, it allegedly fell off the jack stands while I was rotating it, so there's some scuff marks. I'm not too worried about it. It's gonna get beat up, you know. It's a SEMA car. Eventually we'll go through. I might buy a locker if this rear end proves to be as good. I'll buy a locker and we'll actually make it a lock the rear end so it's a 2-fryer tire. We'll throw new pinion seals in it, new axle tube seals. It needs those. I'm pretty sure they're still leaking. But get the tape reveal of the vent tube. Wow, fancy. And I missed. But yeah. And then I said I got cleaned up our rubber, I don't know, insulator pads. I think they help with rotating noise, not rotating noise, just road noise. We got our brake line that I'm still questionable if it's even good. Got that in. It still has the fittings in it. We got to get those out. We're going to make new lines. Painted the backing plates just to kind of keep everything uniform. Went and cleaned up the 2 U-bolts that we're going to use, and I found the 4 best. I don't even know what kind of bolts these are, but they lock it down to the plate. Clean those up. I got the nuts all sitting in a carb cleaner, parts cleaner compound, trying to get gunk out of the threads for them. And then Also, while you were gone, if I can find my light, found it, it's in the trunk. While you were gone, I went and busted a second coat on a lot of this. I even went as far as going underneath, getting the trunk. That side's still a little wet. I said we're gonna let this dry overnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow. Oi. We'll come back tomorrow, and this rear end will be sitting in this car with a bunch of struggling, grunting, and probably curse words. Because if it's anything like how my brother-in-law's 79 was, it was not fun getting it back in there. But yeah, you can see it's still a little wet. I really applied it thick on these frame rails, so we're getting things done slowly but surely. I was gonna say bye, but I'll show you the mounting plates I got in the blast furnace over here. We're cooking them with a heater. But I don't know. We'll be back out here tomorrow morning. Yep, here we are. Day 3 of getting this rear end in. And as you can see, we went from a nice 60-degree day to a blistering 20-degree day and snow just overnight. Let's get in the shop and let's get this thing in the car. Alright, so rear end's ready. It's all painted up. Leaf springs are painted. We got the underneath of the car where the majority of this is going to sit. That has been all cleaned up and rubber undercoated. I went, cleaned up all our hardware. I think I said this last night. I don't remember. But we're going to grease up our rubber pads. I got not new, but they're newer bushings for the back of the leaf springs. We're going to get those in. And then I got these new clips for the torque box. So, alright, shut up. Let's work. Alright, I got you at a weird angle with the camera here. Hopefully it's a decent view, because I'm not trying to spend a bunch of time setting it up. But I went ahead and I got all the clips for the torque boxes. I got those in place. I had to do a little bit of modification. Wasn't expecting that, but whatever. And as you saw in the time lapse, the leaf springs are up there. So we went and greased up the bushings for the back end, and we greased up the holes for the clips. So let's try and get this thing going. Yeah. Let's get it on all fours. Let's kick that across the floor. Bring this jack around. Who knows? This might be time lapse too. I don't know. Alright guys, huge update. The rear end is in. Everything's tight-ish. I'm going to go through with an impact later, but the rear end is in place. Repeat, position, repeat, whatever. It's in place, and nothing broke. Get this out of the way. Show you these cheapo air shocks I bought for this. Come on. Yeah, crispy. I couldn't find my knife, so scissors. This is a long time incoming. That's all that's in this box. That was a lot of box for just that. I wonder if this has got all the airlines with it too. Parts Geek. There you go. Hopefully my address and shit isn't being shown. There you go. That's the part number. Parts Geek. If you're wanting to put air shocks in your F-body, if you want to be cool like me. These are AC Delcos. So, but brand name doesn't mean much anymore nowadays. Come on. Oh. Oh, goody. It does come with the hose kit. That's a plus. These are beefy. Oh. I don't know. There. AC Delcos. Beefy little air shocks. Beefy and little. Yeah. I'm excited. The phone's dying. My heater's running out. Look, there's all the mounting hardware. Heater's running out of fuel. And I'm running out of time to get this video edited. At one point, I'm not sure when, but the camera died, so couldn't record much of getting the rear end in place, unfortunately. That was my big plan. Yeah. Instructions, we don't need those. I'm gonna let this charge up a little bit, and then I might just knock one side in. I'm not leaving you hanging. We're gonna get the wheels on this thing. We're gonna get it sitting on the ground, just like I am. We're gonna get it sitting on the ground, and we're gonna get a good look at this thing on all fours again for the first time in roughly about a year. So, well, that's gonna do it for today's episode, guys. We got a lot accomplished compared to the last episode, but the rear end's in the car. We got the wheels on it, shocks in it. We're about to lower it down for the first time in a little over a year. I appreciate you for tuning in. If you can, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. It's free for you. It's free content. And remember, talking about your projects, don't finish them. See you next week.